Good evening again, and welcome back to Monday Night Politics. Tonight, in this segment, we have candidates for District Court number 255. We have the incumbent, Judge Kim Cooks, and the challenger, Ms. Vonda Bailey. So thank you so much for your attendance here tonight. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So B before C, Ms. Bailey, 2 minutes for an open statement. Remember to address the cyber audience.
Thank you. Is this on?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Thank you, and good evening to everyone. My name is Vonda Bailey. I am the change needed in the 255th court. I am a wife, a mother, a Dallas native. I have a 2-year-old, a rambunctious 2-year-old at that, and a 12-year-old. And I have been a practicing family law attorney for the past 8 years. Families get justice for the things that they need through inclusion and equity. Inclusion is absolutely necessary. This includes people of who suffer from mental health disorders, as well as children and indigent persons. Equity is necessary, and it is not a one-case-fits-all type deal. Once elected, I will ensure that I am partnering with mental health professionals to ensure that people that suffer from dyslexia or schizophrenia or any other type of mental health disorder receive services that they need in order to interpret and understand a court order, because it reduces the future risk of violation, as well as make mandatory counseling for individuals who are in divorce cases as well as child custody cases, and make that mandatory for those children. A clothing closet for indigent litigants who may not look presentable while they're in court. This boosts the morale of the court as well as the confidence of the individual. These are changes that should have occurred in Dallas County courts on yesterday. Mending the broken families begins with the reunification of the families. I am asking for your support and your vote to help bring these changes to the 255th District Court. Thank you. Vote Vonda.
Thank you so much. Judge Cooks.
Good evening. I'm Judge Kim Cooks. I'm your presiding judge of the 255th Family Court in Dallas County, and I'm also your presiding judge of the Protective Order Court in Dallas County. I am seeking your support in re-election to the third term in this court. When I ran in 2013, I made the promise that I would mend the broken families, and that's exactly what I've done. So by mending the broken families in family court, it deals with child support, child custody, CPS, and divorce cases. And with CPS cases, I made sure that children would not go into foster care, but first go to family members, church members, and friends. Because statistics show that that minimizes the trauma, the permanent trauma that children will have as adults. And that would make a reoccurring cycle for children to be in CPS care and for them to not parent well. So we want to end that trauma by allowing them to be with family members and friends. Also, the law provides in family court that I have the ability to incarcerate someone in the Dallas County Jail for non-payment of child support, as well as not following court orders, such as allowing visitation. But instead, I don't believe the taxpayers should have to pay for someone to be in jail for non-payment of child support. Instead, we have the Choices program that allows them to have jobs, get job skills, and still be involved in their children's lives, because ultimately they need to be financially responsible and be able to still walk their children to school. I am asking for your support in re-election. I'm Judge Kim Cooks for Mending the Broken Families.
You stay there, Judge Cooks, for the next question, and then it'll go to you, Ms. Bailey. And this is not directly related to your court specifically, but we saw an interesting dynamic in the last legislature, if you will. And I think, if I opine, I'd say it was because of the election of so many black female judges in both Dallas and Harris counties, and we saw the legislature they got animated over changing the qualifications for who gets to run for judge and who gets to sit as a judge. Can you address that for us?
Absolutely. So in 2014, when there was an influx of judges who got elected in Dallas County, the legislators started looking at, well, are these black women qualified? And then they decided that the black women were automatically qualified. It didn't matter if they went to Thurgood Marshall School of Law, whether they went to Harvard, whether they went to Yale. They felt that just because the color of our skin, that we were black, that we're not qualified to sit as judges, and that we were taking the position of good judges, and good judges being that of white judges. And then in 2018, in Harris County, when 19 African American women were elected, they then worked to change the legislation. And, you know, this is part of systemic racism, and it occurs with the Dallas Bar Association also. Because the Dallas Bar Association knows that when they give low ratings to African American judges, which they have across the board, every family law judge, juvenile judge, criminal judges, they've given low ratings. Because they know that then when they look to someone to go to the Supreme Court, like they have an opening Supreme Court or any appellate court, they're going to look at that and say, okay, they're not qualified, and they're going to justify why an African American woman shouldn't be sitting there. So, you know, this is part of systemic racism, and it's unfortunate because we are just as qualified as anybody else to sit on that bench. And the ultimate gauge of whether we are qualified is the Judicial Conduct Commission, whether we've gotten complaints as to our conduct on the bench, and also the appellate court, whether they've reversed us on many cases because we don't know what we're doing. And that's not the case with the African American judges.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Bailey?
Thank you. I believe that the influx of African American women in the court system, it can be quite frightening. And let's dig a little deeper on that. It's not just about the systematic racism that we have seen occurred in numerous courtrooms across the United States, really, because a lot of black women have been getting elected. But let's also look at some of the things that take place on these benches. How are we as black women in these judicial seats conducting ourselves? Are we treating everyone fairly? Are we holding the courtroom with integrity? Are we mistreating any litigants, anything like that? So I do believe there is some accountability that needs to be taking place upon us as black women. We have to make sure that, first off, nobody is perfect. That I don't want to give that impression off at all. But we do have to do a self-reflection of ourselves because we are being we are being judged based on the way that we treat people, not only in the community, but in the courtroom as well. So those are some things that we also have to take accountability for ourselves and make sure that we are doing our jobs, what we're supposed to do, applying the law fairly, and ensuring that justice takes place in the courtrooms across the United States and in Dallas County, because this is what our taxpayers need. Taxpayers, when they go out to vote, they're not just voting for someone because of the color of their skin. They want to make sure that that is the best qualified person, not just by experience. Experience matters, but it also matters how you treat people, judicial ratings, as well as how your colleagues view you. Currently, this court ranks number 57 out of 60 judges in Dallas County. If that does not alarm you as a taxpayer, I don't know what does, because it definitely is alarming to me. Thank you.
So, stay for this question. So what are, should you be elected, what are the improvements or the changes you would make to improve efficiency in the court?
Thank you for that question, Mr. O'Neill. There are a number of things I said. As I stated earlier about the mental health disorders, people that suffer from those. There needs to be a resource provided in the courtroom to assist these people. A speech therapist, maybe someone who deals directly with people who suffer from mental health disorders, to help these people understand the importance of following a court order. That's the only way that we're going to ensure that they don't return to the courtroom for violating a court order. As I mentioned earlier, which I've already been in the process of working on, the clothing closet for indigent litigants. These people need to feel like they're not being judged based on what they're wearing in the courtroom, but what it is that they're actually saying on their case. They want to be heard. Mandatory counseling for these children. As you know, there is an epidemic of suicide rates across this country, and it's happening to our young people. If we're able to capture them in the most traumatic times of their lives, dealing with divorce cases and child custody cases, this will improve that for them. I also intend on having docket days. This court currently has the most backlog cases of 3,200 from the preceding month. We need to do something about that. Because of the pandemic, all courts have been streaming live in Dallas County. This court does not currently stream live. I believe this is important. The citizens of Dallas County, the taxpayers, deserve to see what is taking place in these courtrooms. How are litigants treated? What exactly is going on in terms of the application of the law? These are things that are extremely important, and I believe that I stand in solidarity with most of the taxpayers of Dallas County, and we would like to know this information. So again, I'm asking for your support to make these things happen and make changes to the 255th. Is definitely needed. Thank you.
Judge Cooks. If you're reelected, how will you, what are the things that you would do to improve efficiency in the court? The things that you plan to do?
Okay, well, to begin with, the court is efficient.
Yes, ma'am.
Already efficient.
Yes, ma'am.
And there is no backlog in the court. There's no backlog in the 255th court. There's no backlog in the protective order court, and I'm proud to say that. You know, we have worked throughout the pandemic, and there are two options. This is why experience matters. The Supreme Court of Texas has said there's two options, that you can be on YouTube or you can have your Zoom code on your website. My Zoom code is on the website for everyone to come see. The protective order court is live on YouTube. You can watch the protective order court there. So as far as efficiency, and before, even before I took the bench in 2015, you know, services were provided throughout the family court through mental health. And those are not services that, you know, they're already there. As they're there for psychiatric evaluations, psychological evaluations, parenting facilitators. They receive counseling. They receive, you know, job skills. They receive parenting classes. So all of those services are already there. That's why experience matters.
So, 2 minutes for a closing statement. And that's where we are in our program tonight, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for allowing me to be your judge of the 255th Family Court. I am asking for your support for re-election so we can continue to mend the broken families together. Approximately 20,000 cases have come through my court already, and we have mended the broken families. You can look at the appellate rates and see the overturn rates. You can look at to see if I've been reprimanded for my performance on the bench. None of those have occurred. So I am asking for your support for re-election. And so I also need your support so we can continue. When I took over protective order court in January, it wasn't a full and up and running court. And I made sure that it would be up and running and it could be fully staffed for all the domestic violence cases and for everyone who needs a protective order. We have partnered with UNT Law, and they have a clinic with their domestic violence class where they have law students so they can get experience and be in the courtroom and help these self-represented litigants as well as indigent people file their paperwork. We also have, in the family court, in 255th Family Court, we've partnered with SMU Law and UNT Law, where they also provide clinics, and they come to the courthouse, and they help people who are indigent and who cannot afford an attorney, who want to represent themselves with all the paperwork so they can maneuver through the court and get a result and get their disposition as needed. And one of the other things I pride myself on, when there's a trial in the court, you get your result immediately after the trial. So you have finality, and whatever services you need to go, that you're ordered to go to, you can start those services. I'm Judge Kim Cooks. Let's continue to mend the broken families together. Vote for me, show me love, February 14th.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Bailey?
As I stated to you, there are a number of changes that need to take place within the 255th Family Court. Just to name off a few of my endorsements: Commissioner John Wiley Price, the North Texas Asian Democrats, Dallas County Tejano Democrats, East Dallas Democrats, as well as the Stonewall Democrats of Dallas and Preston Hollow Democrats. All of these organizations would like to see change in the 255th court, which is why I received their endorsements. I'm asking for your support so I can ensure that counseling is mandatory for children that are involved in the divorce cases as well as the child custody cases, and that there is family counseling that is also mandatory. I'm asking for your support to help me get that clothing closet open for indigent persons so they can feel confident when they are appearing in these courts. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to appear in family courts. I'm also asking for you to help me get these medical providers who can assist these people who suffer from mental health disorders, get the assistance that they need in the courtroom to help them in understanding these court orders. Again, mending the broken families begins with the reunification of the family. I don't know about any of you, but I'm still confused about what mending the broken families actually is from the platform that we just heard. I'm asking for your support and your vote starting on early voting. Early voting begins on February the 14th through the 25th. The primary election is March the 1st. I'm asking for your support to help implement these changes that should have occurred on yesterday in the Dallas County Family Court 255th. Again, thank you for your time. Vote Vonda.
And thank you both, challenger Vonda Bailey and incumbent Judge Kim Cooks for the 255th Judicial District. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we